Okay.
All right.
Hello, party people. Hello, LinkedIn. I am actually about to go live in just under 7 minutes with Rahul Bakaya from Alteryx in Australia. What we're trying right now is to see if we can do a multi-stream. So Rahul is actually streaming through a different service onto the Alteryx assets. So I'm just going to pull in the screen. Rahul, do you want to say a few things, and we'll see if anyone can hear what's going on?
Yeah, sure. Puffleberry bubble bath, Puffleberry bubble bath.
Okay, perfect. If anyone is watching this, please let me know if you can hear Rahul. If we can't hear him, I'm probably going to pull this live stream and then we'll just stick to the other one. But at the moment, I have no idea who is viewing, what's going on. So we'll just keep this up and we'll just see how it goes. Test and learn behind the scenes on LinkedIn Live here.
Not that there are 150 people joining us wasn't enough pressure. We are going through 3 different channels.
Yep.
Just to add a little bit more pressure.
I think this is...
So on 24, I think we'll begin in 5 minutes.
Oh, awesome. People are saying that we can hear you, Rahul. So this is amazing. Thank you so much, everyone on LinkedIn.
Great.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep the screen like this so you can... I might actually do this so then you only can see one of me and then you can see one of Rahul as well. Okay, awesome. This is pretty cool. And I think the feed is good because there's 2 different ways that we can stream from Rahul's side. So there's one where there's a lag. So we will be like jittering all the time. So I'm just going to try and keep this. Let's see if we'll play around. This is a big face of me and a small face of Rahul. We'll probably do this way. We'll change it this way. Yeah, anyone on LinkedIn, please do me a favor and let me know where you guys are tuning in from. This is a very ad hoc LinkedIn Live, but I hope you guys can tune in and hopefully get some value out of it. Today, I think we're going live in under 4 minutes. So this is like fully behind the scenes, pretty raw and fresh. So we have no idea what's going to happen in here. But for the live stream that we scheduled today, we're going to be talking about what happens when a data professional meets a marketer. And I've posted a lot about how I used to look down on marketers and I thought that I was more technical than them and I was better than them. And then now here I am learning from a marketer, talking about how I learned some of the marketing principles and how I applied them for my data career also. So yeah, I hope you guys can stick around and hopefully, get some great value out of this session. But we're just going to hang out here for a little bit. Very, very cool.
Yeah, I guess, it's a mutual learning. I think I'm going to learn a lot from you, Danny. I'm pretty sure you have developed a vast audience. And as I was saying before the call, takes a lot of hard work, grit, and be ready for failure, right?
100%.
And it takes a lot of effort to build that kind of audience, right? And that's the thing I learned from you as a marketer, right? Because
that's awesome.
Marketing is all about gathering audience, So I hope we both learn from each other symbiotically.
Definitely. Yeah, I think this will be a very fun session. It might be a world first, like having streaming through one thing and then streaming a stream through another thing.
Stream to other, multi-stream.
So I really hope that everyone can enjoy, sit back and relax. I think we'll also have some Q&A somewhere. I don't know which channel we're going to go through because Rahul can do Q&A, I can do Q&A. We'll just try and play it by ear and see how it all goes. We're just here to have a lot of fun.
Yeah, let's do this way, right? Why don't you handle LinkedIn, because I think you're a kind of LinkedIn guru.
Yep.
You handle LinkedIn Q&A. I'll handle the on24 Q&A, and we can go that way. We can cover the whole ground.
Awesome. This is great. Thanks guys for tuning in from Sydney, South Florida, really cool. From Melbourne as well. Hope you guys are doing well down there. And Arkansas, Cairo, Egypt, as well as from Texas as well. This is so cool. We've got people from all over the world tuning in. I think I have a huge audience that's also around India as well. Unfortunately, I think it might be a bit too early for some of these guys. So sorry guys, but I've put this on YouTube also. So I hopefully will get some great evergreen content for people to watch later. But yeah, just sit back and enjoy. Oh, we've got a comment from Andrew asking Rahul if you are Clark Kent. I think it might be the awesome glasses that you've got on.
I think I'm more of a Bruce Wayne.
There we go, Andrew. You've got your answer.
Yeah, yeah, no, I know, Andrew. Yeah. But yeah, I like Batman better than Superman. By the way, have you seen the new trailer of Batman? Robert Pattinson? Oh my God.
So I have a confession to make.
It's just a fun moment for me.
I don't have a TV, so I hardly read the news as well. So I literally I only hear of these like events and current affairs secondhand almost, unless something like pops up onto my feed or whatever. So yeah, maybe I'll go out and watch it now.
But before we start, Danny, let me be very clear. Are you a Marvel fan or are you a DC fan?
I watch whatever. I'm on the fence.
Very politically correct answer. All right, it's 11 a.m. So we're gonna start live on 24 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wow, we are live here now. So hello, everyone. I can see we have got a few people joining in. Before I begin, I'll just give maybe 2 or 3 minutes for everyone to join in, because I think the first 5 minutes is where people start registering and logging in and checking their headphones and everything. So let's give it a couple of minutes.
Yeah, so for everyone on LinkedIn and on 24, thank you for tuning in. I hope we have a great time today. We're trying a bit of a world first here. So we're streaming on 3 different platforms actually. So I've got something going on LinkedIn and on YouTube also. So this is a bit of a test and learn experience for all of us involved.
And we are nervous.
We are nervous, of course.
The facade that we have over our face, it's just a facade. We are nervous as hell.
Yeah. Our internal thinking is just saying,
all right.
You go. Sorry.
All right, I think we have got, no, it's all right. I think we have got a few number of people who have joined in. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. Today, we have Danny Ma joining us, and we will be covering the importance of storytelling and self-branding in the world of data professionals, as what we call when a marketer meets an analyst. Now, for all those people who don't know Danny, he specializes in data strategy, data product development, implementing innovative machine learning solutions for challenging business problems. Danny is the founder and CEO of Sydney Data Science, an Aussie tech startup. I love Aussie tech startups. Now, this is the professional side of Danny. The one thing that I really love about Danny is Danny's passion is to guide businesses and individuals on their AI and machine learning journey. He believes in a clear understanding of data strategy, and applied machine learning will be key differentiator in this brave new world. He currently provides personalized mentorship for 400 plus aspiring data professionals in the hashtag Data with Danny community. So that's for Danny, and I think Danny, we are actually going live with 2 more channels in addition to On24, which is LinkedIn and YouTube, just to build the pressure on both of us.
Yeah, the more pressure, the better.
That's that's great. Okay, for the folks who are joining us on On24, you will see you have got a Q&A widget. on your Windows screen. This is for you. Now, this webinar, this Q&A session is not just for me and Danny. This is for all of us. We would love your questions. So please kindly post your questions there. You know, any kind of question you have related to analytics and related to branding, related to marketing, and we will try to answer them verbally. I would request you to maybe close other windows if you have opened, especially if you have some online mail checkups that can consume a lot of your bandwidth, so that you have a seamless experience with this webinar. Also, I would highly recommend using a headphone so that the voice is clear, because sometimes what happens when you're hearing stuff from laptop, it echoes and you're not able to hear it clearly. Just like when you're watching movies, treat this as a movie. So with that, Danny, shall we begin?
Yes, let's do it.
Are you ready? Are you ready for my questions that's going to irritate you so much? I just love irritating animals. Hey, here's the thing, right? Because we are talking about storytelling, right? Here's my interaction, my first interaction with the data analyst. Back in the days, I think it goes 6 years ago. And I was starting as a marketing coordinator, and was really full of zeal, really full of data enthusiasm. And I was like, I really want to do a campaign on this particular product. Right? I want to do a campaign on this particular product, and that product used to come in different sizes. So I need to find out what is the one size that sells the most, number one. Number two, what is the geographical location of that maximum sales? So the reason why I wanted to do that is focus the story around that particular size in that particular geography, if that makes sense. So the only source of knowledge to give me that data was one of the data analysts who used to work in that team. So I went to him and unannounced, which is my mistake. And I said, hey, mate, how are you? How are you going? Now, this guy, if I have to explain to this guy, his expressions are black and white, yes and no. And if you'll ever ask him, the answer will always be like, yes, no, okay, what? So I went to him, hey, how are you going? And this is actually him. Good. Okay, hey, I wanted your help. Sure. I'm looking for data around this product and this specific size in this geographical area. Why? Oh, and you could see my hands started sweating, and I was the new marketing coordinator started getting the scare in my spine. I was like, oh no, just we wanted to do a campaign, and we wanted to see which product to start with. And he was like, okay, what are you after? I'm like, oh, okay, shit. Am I explaining it correctly? Then you start doubting yourself, right? And then now I look at those things and I think about, was I bad in telling my story, or could he have asked better questions?
I think
that's when I thought. What are your thoughts around this incident?
It seems like the communication is very one-way street. It's all coming from you trying to share exactly what your purpose is, trying to figure out exactly what you want to find out from the analyst, and the analyst was just not giving you anything to work off. It's almost like imagine you're doing some improv comedy, and your counterpart is just shutting you down every single time and not giving you any room to move. It's not how we should be doing communication.
I think part of that was also my mistake, and I wasn't very good at being a marketer. I thought I need to be the best at storytelling. I was the worst. It took me ages to learn how to recite a story. And I'll tell you, it is one of the most difficult things for anyone, any communicator or any orator, to tell a story. So I knew we wanted to start with self-branding and everything, but Danny, what are your thoughts? Why is it so important for someone who's working in data and analytics market to culture the art of storytelling?
So for me, storytelling is essentially you're trying to communicate with other people. And one of the most important or one of the most impactful ways to get your point across and try to get people, the stakeholders, the buyers, or anyone to take some sort of action is to really grab them in with a very compelling story. Throughout history, many times you see the things that are shared throughout different generations are stories. They're passed down from generation to generation. They get told from one person to another, and they spread. So in a way, I think good communication in the form of storytelling is super, super important for anyone working in marketing, in data science and machine learning. I think it's super important to try and frame up anything that we're doing in terms of a story. And so it's memorable, impactful, compelling, and all of these great words and descriptions that lead to people taking action based off whatever you're telling them.
That's great. So memorable, impactful, and compelling. These are three attributes that I picked from what you're saying about the important attributes of storytelling. Are there any quick ways, like top 10 tips on how to improve your storytelling that you can share with our viewers that you recommend? That you have inculcated in your real life?
Yep. I think 10 tips will be, I don't think I've got 10 tips off the top of my head, but one of the main things that comes to mind is to try and put yourself in the other person's perspective. So you have to think like your audience. If you need to try and convince someone to take some sort of action, one of the things that I've always been taught by my mentors in terms of communication and presentation would be try and think of how you want the audience to think, feel, and do. So when you communicate something, you should think about, okay, as the listener, how am I going to think and feel as soon as I hear this message? When I hear the words and I see your body language and the way that you communicate, what am I going to think? So the logical part of what your brain is going to do. Feeling is very, very important as well. So that talks about the emotions and the different things that you want people to feel. And as a combination of those two, then you should try and drive people to some sort of action. So what are they going to do after consuming the information and receiving the feeling that you're giving out with your words and your communication, non-verbal communication also. And that has, every time I try and do some sort of presentation or deliver some insights to a marketing manager, I try and think through those things. It's not always so formal. Sometimes you just don't have time to think through all of those things also. But I think, yeah, some of those components are very important. So think, feel, do, trying to put yourself in the other audience's perspective. I think this ties into some of the personal branding as well. But when you're telling your story, it should be your version of the story. Try and be authentic with the way that you're communicating, because I think as humans, we're geared towards picking up inconsistencies between what people are saying and also how they're communicating it. So you might tell a really cool story, like a really, really great story, and it hits all of those things. But if you're not looking the person in the eye properly, or if you're not smiling, if you're just delivering everything with a deadpan face, for example, you're throwing in all these different inconsistencies that people will pick up subconsciously. And then that will lead to your story not being as impactful as it could be if you had all of these things working together. So it's just, I don't know, some of these things, the first things that come to my mind when we think about storytelling in general. It doesn't have to be for trying to tell the story of your life or trying to tell the story of the data or anything like that. But this is just in terms of general communication.
Absolutely. And I think I second your point on know your audience. And this is something that we marketers follow as a Bible word. knowing your audience when we are going into a keynote speaking or presenting our campaign, etc. So what we actually do is before going into the presentation, we actually research our audience, whether it's the sales team, whether it's the data analytics team, whether it's the finance, accounting people, etc., etc. What, as a marketer or as a best storyteller, you need to understand is the moment you enter into a room for presenting, you have 5 minutes, number one, to showcase that whatever you are saying relates to the audience who sits and listening to you. Right? So if you have people in the finance teams sitting around listening to you, you need to prove them in 5 minutes that we are going to discuss a problem that you face every day. And then discuss about the solution that you're going to provide. And then maybe discuss about the specificities of the solution. What we have found, Danny, is people start right from the end. They start discussing about the specificities of the solution, then the solution, and then maybe they'll talk about the problem, right? They'll go like, this is what we are offering, this is how it works, and this is how it solves your problem. While we go with, this is your problem, and then people go like, oh, yeah, I get that problem every day. I get that, yeah, he's right, I'm in the right room, I'm in the right. So you need to get that I am in the right room feeling from your audience. And I think that you would only know that once you know your audience.
100%.
So I think we have got a pretty good grasp over the storytelling part of it. Guys, just a reminder, yes, we have got a Q&A widget. Keep pressing in your questions, sending your questions. At the end of the webinar, we'll go through all those questions one by one. So we love your questions, and I'm seeing we're getting a lot of questions. That's great. Actually, I'll just take a couple of questions if that's all right, Danny.
No, of course.
Now we have one question on brand, which I'll take at the end once we discuss the brand. We have got one question. I'm missing one important thing. Things we are showing. Oh, okay, sorry. So maybe there might be a breakup with your voice, but I think if
oh, in my voice,
we are missing one important thing. Yeah, but now I think if you guys, if you're having audio problems and if you're having videos is not being shared properly, the best thing you can do is just refresh your browser and make sure that you're not opening any other windows which is consuming your bandwidth. Now, okay, this is, I don't know if this was the question was exactly meant to be, but let me paraphrase this question. And I hope I'm paraphrasing this question correctly for the audience. English. Does communication means English? Does communication really means, I think what maybe they mean is, do you need to have a strong command after English so that we are a good communicator or a good storyteller? What are your thoughts on that? That's a good one.
I think English is probably one of the most universal languages, if not the universal language across multiple cultures and multiple countries as well. So I think having a good grasp of English in terms of being like almost at native level speaking is probably going to be really important if your audience is English speaking also. Of course, that makes it more difficult for people whose native language is not English. And it can be quite frustrating at times. For example, my partner is not, she's not native English speaker, but she knows how to speak Russian and Vietnamese and a little bit of Chinese as well. So I think there's, in terms of different audiences, I think it's, you just need to try your best. And I think if you really are communicating and putting out as much effort as possible, the audience will definitely respect that. And it doesn't matter what language you're speaking or what you're fluent in. I think it's the energy and the emotion that you're delivering any sort of message is more important. And as I think humans, I think probably evolved over time to really pick up on these non-verbal cues in terms of communication also. So I think, yeah, definitely English is going to be important, but it might be less important than a lot of people may think.
I think I tend to agree with you, Danny, over there. Yes, look, I come from a non-English background. Yes, but I had to learn English since I was a kid. But I understand the the conundrum of that question. I think you're spot on wherein there are certain aspects of non-verbal communication that you need to master. Your expressions, the way you define things with your hand gestures. I was listening to Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson, and he was talking about non-verbal communication and how you can use your eyebrows, use your facial expressions, use your hands. You've got so many techniques that you can use to gather an audience for a better storytelling experience. So I completely second that thought. And it only comes with the practice. So definitely, that was a great question. Another question we have, and that's, I think, is a perfect segue in our brand discussion, Danny. The question is how to create a brand for oneself. Someone who is an IT professional, say, for example, from DevOps and QA, trying to transition to data roles. A tricky one, but a good one.
Yeah, I think that one is a specifically tricky one also. I think, so personal branding in this day and age, I personally don't think that I am an expert. Right? I am in touch with a lot of experts who are experts in this area, and I also try and read up on this as much as possible. But in this digital age of social media, as well as your reputation in the market, in terms of in the hiring market, in the industry, in the data industry, your personal branding is super important. I think this almost goes without saying. But I think in terms of how can you actually curate and design and actually build up your personal brand, that's much more unclear, and there's a lot of confusion around it. I think a lot of people think of personal branding as, oh, I need to have my own hashtag on LinkedIn. I need a logo. I need to project some sort of vision of what I'm doing and who I am. And all of these things are very, in one way, they're very topical. Like on some platforms, let's say Instagram, YouTube, for example, yes, the aesthetics of what you're doing on those platforms might be really important to help you build a following. But in terms of your personal brand, it's centered around who you are as a person. So your personality, how you interact with people on different social media platforms, how you talk with people in real life, how you send emails, how you work on your projects, how you interact with different stakeholders when you're actually in the office also. I think all of these things, they all tie back to how you communicate. You don't necessarily have to be a storyteller all the time, but in terms of communication, like when you're commenting on things on posts on LinkedIn, you want to comment in your own authentic voice. You don't want to put up a facade and try to make yourself to be someone who's amazing. You just need to be yourself. I think there's a saying, like, I don't know who it's attributed to, but being successful is just 80% showing up and just being there. So I think definitely for personal branding in this social media age, a lot of the challenge of actually building out your personal brand is that most people are just not present in some of these platforms. If you're not there, how can you expect to be building a personal brand when there's all these other people who are trying to build their personal brand on the same platform, and they're out there much more than you are? Or maybe the comparison is not so good. Like, it's not really a competitive thing, but you still need to put yourself out there because you can always tell yourself that you have a really great personal brand, and here are my values, and here's what I believe in. But if other people don't know about it, is it really your personal brand? Like, it's a bit of a chicken and egg problem. Which is kind of frustrating at the same time. for me personally, I wasn't very active on any of these social media platforms because I thought that they were just kind of like a gimmick. Like, oh, why do I need to spend more time on LinkedIn? People just post about different things and comment. It's kind of like Facebook. Facebook is a gimmick. That was my mindset, like almost, I'd say like a year ago. And then I tried to read as much as possible and try and gather a lot of information. And I literally just wanted to try it and see if it would actually work for me. And I think that sort of experimentation mindset is super important because I think one of the blockers for people who want to develop their personal brand is the fear of going out there and people saying bad things about you. The fear of failure, the fear that who is going to listen to me? Like, what do I have to give to other people of value? Because you hear this thing like, oh, to build a personal brand, you need to be giving out value to people. You need content. You need valuable content, which is, I think as an outsider, it's very intimidating. Like you think to yourself, oh, who am I to start writing things and sharing whatever I think is important to do? Am I qualified to do this? And to that, I'd like to, but that was my perspective as well. Like, who am I to try and just share my thoughts on like who's going to read it? But over time, I think I flipped the switch. I thought the way that I was interpreting it was all about me. Like it's why am I posting? Why am I posting? Who am I posting for? I was trying to post for myself. I think when we have that inward focus, it just doesn't gel right. Social media is about other people. So I read something in the past where I forgot the name of the book, but it was essentially I've always been wanting to help people as a data analyst, as a data scientist. I'd always be actively trying to help people upskill and do different things like that. But when I posted on LinkedIn, it was all about, oh, here's the skills that I have and look how cool I am. Follow me, or whatever it is, which is not how you want to go about it. I think when I made the mental flip of just saying, okay, if I want to help people, I need to think about how they're going to receive my message. And this goes back into the storytelling also. And once I made that flip of the switch, instead of being very fearful about, oh, am I going to look good or am I going to look professional when I post this? I view anything that I post these days as, who am I going to help? Am I helping people? And if I'm helping people, why am I hesitating to post this? And in a way, I think part of that is my own personal brand, where I just want to be known as the person who's helping others. And I think that's really powerful in itself. And I truly believe in it. But in terms of like for our viewers, your personal brand might be something else. It might be you want to share something amazing that's been going on in your life, and you want more people to know about it, which is awesome. And I think if we can reframe all of the stuff that we're putting out there on different social media platforms, yes, you can have it look really nice, but we should think back to what are our viewers and our followers and all those different things. What are they getting out of the things that we're posting or commenting? And that kind of ties back into your personal brand also.
There are some great insights, and one of the insights that you spoke about, I really loved it. It's not about you; it's about others. And the wisdom and the experience you have gathered in years is a golden box of content. Just open that box and keep posting content from your learning and experience with the sole intention that others can learn from you. That others can learn from your experience, not to get more likes or not to get more audience, but just to help. Right? And I think more marketers should be thinking like that as well, in the more empathetic way. Instead of growing audience, let's go with the intention of helping people. So I think that hopefully that answers that question. That was a great question on brand for oneself. I have one more question that brings back to the storytelling part. I just want to touch base. It's a great question. So I'll just recite that question. You articulate that it's good if someone starts with a problem. I have experienced that when I start with a problem, then usually senior stakeholders try to skip this part as they have a specific problem. But yes, they're always curious about the solution telling story. So my question is that how to pitch them so they will reveal their problem without any hesitation. So I have an answer for that, but I would love to hear your thoughts, Danny. Have you experienced something like that? Because I have experienced this so many times, and I completely agree with this guy.
I think it's one of those areas, working as a technical person, you're less exposed to, in some sense, where say you're working at a very low level, not at a low level in terms of a bad low level, but at a very fine granular level where you're in the data trying to figure out what's going on, trying to solve all the problems there. You're most of the time we're hardly ever pulled out to think about the problems at a more senior management level, at a higher level of thinking. And we kind of we're in the weeds trying to pick out all the weeds, but we're missing that we're in the field. For example, I think the advice that I received from my mentors and my seniors throughout my career was always to err on the side of cautiousness when you're talking about problems, because I think you really need to know your audience. You have to understand what sort of decisions were made prior, whether some of the problems that we're facing was as a result because of someone made a decision that has negatively impacted the current scenario. If you just go in there and you just say, there's this big problem, that's a problem, and the person who kind of created it is in the room, then instantly the mood will be sour. So I think it's part of it, part of it is being able to read the room and really know your audience in terms of what's been going on, what's the context of this problem, what's been done before, what current solutions are there. I think you need to have a very good grasp of all of this stuff, all of the lay of the land, before you go in there and try and really be trying to go for the big boom and trying to give your story. I think it goes back to, if you don't know your audience, then you should go back and try and figure out your audience before you try and tell the story.
Yeah, so if you don't know step 2, go back to step 1.
Exactly.
Look, this is a great question, and I have actually faced this so many times where, obviously when I'm trying to present and, someone from senior executive go like, no, go back, go to slide 10 quickly. Let's look at the solution. And I hear where this person is coming from. I think, look, this can happen even if sometimes you have well researched your audience. What do they want? This can happen. The way I have dealt with these kind of scenarios, and sometimes, most of the times it has worked, sometimes it hasn't, but still a solution that you can apply is going in the room and starting your presentation with a question. And the question is, all right, guys, you have given your 1 hour of your busy schedule to gather here. Why are we here? What are we here to discuss? All right, let's make sure, and this is a pure sales tactic, right? Let's put on some 5 points to collate the reasons that we are here, so that when we leave the meeting, we tick box all those points, right? So point number 1, why are we here? Point number 2, why are we here? Point number 3, why are we here? What that does is that gets a mutual agreement between yourself, and the audience that we are discussing the same problem. And our intention is to solve that problem before we leave the room. So that can be a good solution for you folks. Give it a go, and let me know how you go with that one. Now, I'm conscious of time, but I'm still more than happy to welcome any questions. Hey, Danny, are you looking at any questions from LinkedIn or YouTube, or should I keep going with the On24?
Yeah, I think we'll just keep with the On24. We'll focus on these guys for now.
All right, cool. All right. So the last question is around self-branding, right? So we discussed a little bit about self-branding and the importance of self-branding for data analysts. And I've heard from a lot of people that the two basic elements of self-branding, two basic, I would say, attributes of self-branding are sales and marketing. If you are in a business of telling your story, telling your idea, you need to know how to sell it and how to market it. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, 100% agree. I'd agree more if I could. I think throughout the different projects that I've worked on, you could be the most technically proficient person working on the most beautiful, elegant code, but if you're not using some sales strategies and marketing strategies to actually communicate exactly what you've done and what problem it's solving, it's just that. It's just beautiful code. It's not going to lead to any impact. People are not going to use what you've built. So I think it's really important to actually think through all of those steps. Even so, when we do a lot of coding and a lot of technical analysis for the data, that takes a lot of thinking, but we need to challenge ourselves to think even further in an area where a lot of the technical folks out there are not very strong in the marketing and the sales. I was in the same category. I would always think, oh, I just need to build it and the things, and people will use it. Why do I need to sell it? People obviously know that this is going to be better than whatever's happening. And I think it's probably the wrong mindset. It's very ego driven. You can't assume that other people are just going to jump onto whatever you're doing because you did it. I think it's if you're not thinking through how to actually market and sell the work that you're doing, the project that you're working on, your results will be suboptimal. I think we should think of it in that sense, as opposed to like binary yes or no. I'm not going to do marketing because I'm a data person. I think that's not the right approach we should be taking.
And obviously that was the whole inception of this idea when you shared that on LinkedIn, and I was like, you know what, Danny, we need to do a talk on this. So those are some really great points, Danny, and I think we are right on the clock. It's 11:05 right now, and I'm sure people have other meetings to join in. But guys, we will send you the recording, so don't worry about it. I had one more question, and that was like, that was more around Alteryx. Why Alteryx over any other tool? Maybe that question is for some other day conversation, and I can talk about it for hours and hours and hours. So we'll take that question offline. But thank you so much, everyone who joined us today and gave their half an hour of the busy schedule. Danny, thank you so much. You're great. And you know, I'm pretty sure with the elements that you have shared with us will help all our folks to better self-brand and better tell the stories. So thank you so much.
Not at all. It was a pleasure to join you here, Rahul. Okay.
All right. The webcast is ended on 24. Would
All
you like
right.
to end it on LinkedIn as well?
Yeah. So thanks again for letting me live stream the behind the scenes onto LinkedIn. Also, maybe I shouldn't have said so much at the beginning of the on 24 stream, but it's okay. Hopefully, everyone who's watching this has received quite a lot of value out of our session. I think we could probably keep talking for days about this sort of stuff. So I think in future, maybe we can do like a more marketing-based Q&A directly from LinkedIn even, where we can just kind of talk through maybe different strategies that people can use, strategies and tactics. I think that'll be really cool because we hear a lot of marketing and oftentimes people think of marketing as a very high-level sort of thing, like and usually it's not very actionable in that sense. So maybe in future we can we could do like, here are some top 10 tactics that you can use when trying to communicate your data story or something like that through your data visualizations.
Sure.
But yeah, thank you so much.
While we are live on LinkedIn, right?
Yep.
While we are live on LinkedIn, and you touched on this, I'll give just 4 points on self-branding that I have used and have worked for me. Just to collate everything that we have discussed is, Number one, self-branding is a conscious and intentional effort. You need to know yourself that you are actually working for self-branding. Then and only then you will go towards the success of self-branding. So it's a conscious and intentional effort. So you have to be very calculated. The second thing is you need to create and influence public perception of yourself. So what you think about yourself, you need to make sure the other people think the same way. That's how you promote it. It's self-branding is just like a branding of a product. You want the perception of that product to get in the minds of the consumers. Then you need to position them as an authority. You need to position yourself as an authority. Like Danny, yourself, you are a great data analyst. So you position yourself as an authority, but that comes up, with great powers comes great responsibility. So you need to make sure whatever you're saying actually makes sense and actually works, right? And then you need to elevate credibility, the most important, the most difficult part of self-branding, or any kind of branding, is self-credibility. So you need to gather people who can actually vouch for your credibility, customer testimonials, etc. So those 4 points. And with those 4 points, I would say goodbye. You can also join me and Danny on LinkedIn. Ask us 100,000 questions. We are more than happy to help you.
Awesome. All right. So I'm going to end the stream on this side. You can see my mouse moving around. So Rahul, thanks again. I had a lot of fun.
Pleasure.
And hopefully we'll catch up soon. See you, mate.
Definitely.
Bye. Bye. Okay. All right. So I've shut off that live stream. Thank you again so much for joining us today. I hope you guys got something out of it. It was something interesting, a little bit behind the scenes. It was very impromptu, actually. Like literally maybe 10 minutes before we went live, I just floated an idea to Rahul, like, oh, maybe we should go on LinkedIn as well, just so people might get some value who would not have otherwise seen this sort of stuff. So thanks again for your time. And I will hopefully see you guys soon. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. See you next time.